Let the critique begin.
You're probably shocked to hear this, but The Great Gatsby is not exactly one of my favorite books. That's probably due to the culture it deals with. It's the type of culture that seems a bit foreign to me. But with all due respect, it's a classic. It's widely considered one of the greatest novels of all time. To me, however, it's a decent book. Not much more. I can understand some of the meanings, but it's hard for me to connect with the characters. There were 3 film adaptations of the novel. Well, technically there were 4. The first was a silent film in 1926. It's currently a lost film, yet we know it exists because of footage clipped together to a trailer. It doesn't matter anyway. The author of the novel, F. Scott Fitzgerald, didn't like it. He and his wife walked out of the theater halfway through. The 3 films that are still around today are a black and white film from 1949, a color version in 1974 starring Robert Redford, and the most recent is the 2013 Baz Luhrmann film starring Leonardo DiCaprio. For this review, I'll be talking about the 74 version. While the novel was all told from the perspective of Nick Carraway, a former Yale student who went to New York City to be a Bond salesman after the war, this movie seems to focus more on the title character, a mysterious rich tycoon named Jay Gatsby. Nick still appears in the film, and we do receive narration from Nick telling of his own experiences, but the main focus seems to be on this love triangle. Nick's cousin Daisy is married to Tom Buchanan, and Gatsby wants to earn back the love of Daisy. As you might expect, this may not end very well. I've only read through the novel one time, so I can't really compare the 2 mediums much other than the different perspective, but the events in this film seem to match up to those in the novel. The lead actors are believable in their roles, and I kinda like the approach to the characters in an attempt to create emotion throughout the film. Oddly enough, I don't really catch on to the connections, like how I approach the novel. It's difficult for me to be interested in all this talk and display of vague rich people throwing lavish parties. I'll give them credit. It does have a good soundtrack. Nelson Riddle truly deserved winning the Academy Award for Best Original Score. I also like the cinematography. It has some good cinematics that make it feel as though you're truly viewing events that occurred in the 1920s. Again, this win for the British Academy Film Award for Best Cinematography is deserved. However, for a film set during the Jazz Age, it could have had much more going on. Yeah, the Jazz Age, the period that F. Scott Fitzgerald was famous for coining the term for. Now, don't get me wrong, I like this movie, I honestly do. It's not great by any means, but it's pretty worthwhile if you want good content, but you don't have any real specifics on how good you want it to be. There are some people who don't like this movie, and I can totally understand why. Its spirit toward the novel is there, but it could have represented its times better. I might be able to give filmmakers the benefit of the doubt that the older a novel is, the harder it may be to adapt it correctly. Okay, I made that up based on how little adaptations of old novels have been truly faithful to their source material, but it sounds like a good assumption to me, and I think I'll stick with it. But this is a good film to watch if you want a decent adaptation. If you haven't seen this film, go and watch it so you can decide for yourself.